Dear viewers, parents outside there, candidates, and all pupils of other classes, I welcome you to this program. It's going to benefit you a lot. For instance, today we are starting with mathematics. I know with the time we shall keep adding on more and more. Let me hope you will achieve more. We are going to look at a small subtopic called angles under a theme of geometry. Let's just briefly look at angles. An angle is how much an opening is. For instance, when you open, how much turning can you make? For instance, when you open a door, you will find that there is an angle formed between the door and the wall. For instance, this is my hand. You'll find that it's very straight. These are what we call angles on a straight line. So when you keep turning, you realize that there is an angle formed around this joint. So in science, we call them joints. But mathematically, we call them angles. So you'll find that when you make it straight like this, when this one is straight, you'll find that this is an angle which has been formed from right away, whereby we can call it angles on a straight line. But when you fold, you keep turning up to this point, you realize that it is like a right angle. So we have very many types of angles. For instance, we have what we call right angles. Or a right angle. A right angle, this is an angle of 90 degrees. That is the symbol for a right angle. Other types of angles, we have angles like acute. Acute angle, this is an angle which is less than 90 degrees. For instance, 1 degree, that is an acute angle. 2 degrees, 3 degrees, up to 8 or 9 degrees. So those are called acute angles. You will find that this is an acute angle. It is an angle formed at that point. Angle AOB is an acute angle. It is less than 90 degrees. All angles that are less than 90 degrees are called acute angles. The other type of angle, we can call them obtuse. Obtuse angle or obtuse angles when there are many. Obtuse angles are angles which are beyond 90 degrees but less than 180 degrees. For instance, let me draw here and you see. If that is our straight line, the angle which is formed at that point is what we call obtuse angle. It is slightly beyond 90 degrees, but less than 180 degrees. The moment it goes to a straight line, it will form what we call straight line angles. Let me first talk about also straight line angles before I continue with other types of angles. straight line angle or angles on a straight line, you realize that that is a straight line. There is an angle formed there. So when you turn from this point, this will be 0, and you move up that point. That's what we call straight line angles. They add up to 180 degrees. We also have other types of angles, like, can I say, angles at a point. Angles at a point, these are angles which add up to 360 degrees. For instance, you turn from here and you rotate until you come back to that point. The angle formed here is an angle at a point. So they add up to 360 degrees. Then we should not forget talking about reflex angles. A reflex angle is an angle which is beyond 180 degrees but less than 360 degrees. The angle formed here is a reflex angle. It is beyond 180 degrees, but less than 360 degrees. Let's also look at what we call complementary angles. Complementary angles, these are pairs of angles which add up to 90 degrees. They are supposed to be in pairs. You will find that the other angle is a complement of the other. For instance, what is the complement of 30 degrees? What is the complement of 30 degrees? You realize that since there are two angles which add up to 90 degrees, each angle is a complement of the other. For instance, the complement of 30 degrees is going to be, through calculation, we realize that since two angles add up to 90 degrees, we can get the 90 degrees and we take away 30 degrees, the angle which is given. And the end result will be 60 degrees. So the complement of 30 degrees is 60 degrees. You are only left with the 60 degrees to make it complementary. So when you get 30 degrees plus the 60 degrees, you will get 90 degrees. These are what we call complementary angles. We can also have such questions like, find the complement of x degrees. Now this x is not known. But to find the complement of x degrees, since each angle is a complement of the other, we can just get the 90 degrees and we take away that angle. So 90 degrees minus x degrees, we shall get the complement of x degrees. We can also write it as it can be written as 90 minus x degrees. Therefore, the complement of x degrees is 90 minus x degrees. Let's look at another one. For instance, find a complement of x minus 20 degrees. To find a complement of x minus 20 degrees, we shall just get 90 degrees minus x minus 20 degrees. We shall take away that angle to get the other complement, because you're finding the complement of x minus 20 degrees. We can just simply say 90 degrees, take away. Since these are two terms, we shall make our brackets and we say minus x minus 20 degrees. So we shall take away the two terms. That's why we create here brackets. So we are supposed to take away both x and also minus 20 degrees. We shall end up with, this is 90 degrees. When we get x time negative, this is a negative one here. Negative times x, we shall get negative x. Negative times negative 20 degrees, we shall end up with positive 20 degrees. Let me rub here. We are using simpler methods because there are other methods, but it is easier to use these simple ones for everybody to understand. We shall continue solving our we are left there with 90 degrees minus x plus 20 degrees. So we shall try to collect the like terms here, whereby we shall bring this 20 degrees closer to 90, and we take away x. So this one will become 90 degrees. The whole of this one joins to 90, and it becomes plus 20 degrees minus x. So when you get 90 degrees plus 20 degrees, you will get 110 degrees minus x. So since the whole of this is an angle, we can also write it as 110 minus x into brackets degrees. So we can summarize by saying the complement of x minus 20 degrees is 110 minus x degrees. In most cases, we don't put the units on the unknown. But at this point, according to the way the question was set, the x didn't have the degrees, and therefore we can either end here or summarize like that, because everything is in degrees here. It is an angle. Angles are measured in degrees. So we can summarize our question by saying, find the complement of x minus 20 degrees is 110 minus x degrees. Furthermore, we can also look at questions like, What angle is 5 times it is complement? What angle is 5 times it is complement? I know some candidates might have even got the answer there, but let's work it out together. What angle is? The first thing is to interpret the question. Know what the question wants. Because nowadays mathematics needs interpretation. First analyze the question what? Analyze the question. Once you analyze the question, it will be easy for you to hit the answer. What angle is 5 times it is complement? That angle should be 5 times it is complement. For instance, here we can bring in the issue of algebra. Algebra is everywhere. We can have our table. Since the question is saying what angle is 5 times it is complement, it is easier, first of all, to know it is complement. Then to get that angle, we shall just multiply it is complement by 5. So we can let it is complement be x. So we can assume let it is complement be x because we don't know it is complement. Let it is complement be x, and once you know it is complement, that angle must be 5 times it is complement. Therefore we shall write 5 times x, which is 5x. So remember, when you get the angle plus it is complement, you must get 90 degrees. So we are solving it algebraically. When you get x and you add to 5x, you must get 90 degrees. So 1x plus 5x, these are like terms, we shall end up with 6x. Which gives us 90 degrees. 6x gives us 90 degrees. To get x alone, we shall need to divide both sides by the coefficient, and that is a 6. So we shall divide this 6 by itself and also this one by itself. Then same thing should be done the other side. By 6 once. 6 divided by 6 is also 1. Divide this 6 by 6 once. 6 goes into 9 once. You remain with 3. And that 3 can be taken to the next digit there, the place of ones now. Now this one becomes 30. 30 divided by 6, you will end up with 5. There is a degree there which I have not cancelled. There must be evidence of cancellation. You must cancel to show that you have divided. Therefore, x alone here gives us 15 degrees. When you go back to your question, you must not dwell with your question. What angle is 5 times? It is a complement. The angle is supposed to be 5 times it is complement. This is not our final answer. We are supposed to find the angle. So this is just, it is complement according to what we stated there. So to get the angle, we shall have and when you multiply 5 times 15 degrees, you can get 75 degrees. Learners here normally get lost, but it is easier for you to have even some side work. You can draw a line on your paper and you show your calculation from a side. This one can be 15 degrees times 5. To make sure you don't lose your mark. 5 times 5 degrees, you will get 25. You write 5 and you move with a 2. 5 times 1 is 5 plus a 2, you get 7. These are degrees. So you realize that your answer is correct. Sometimes learners hurry and they end up multiplying and they get a wrong answer due to hurrying. Don't hurry, just be steady. And what I would advise candidates and all learners, practice multiplication tables.